You've seen the full power ranking, but here's the real mystery. Why do some fire users barely spark, while others blaze like living gods? Let's break it down. At the very bottom of the list, we find the sparks, fighters whose flames burn, but can be smothered by stronger winds. Take Shoto Todoroki in his early days at UA. Against Nezuko's Demon Flames or Rengoku's Disciplined Swordplay, his fire would collapse. Nezuko's Blood Flames regenerate mid-battle, while Rengoku's flame breathing cuts straight through Todoroki's raw, unfocused blasts. Even Nezuko herself, though powerful among Demon Slayers, couldn't stand against a veteran like Endeavor. Her blood bursts scorch demons, but Endeavor's controlled infernos blanket entire city blocks. Her firepower simply isn't enough. Rengoku, despite his legendary resolve, is bound by human limits. His sword would cut through lesser users like Abdul from JoJo's, but the moment he clashes with Ace or Sabo, his techniques vanish in a storm of superior flames. Against Natsu, Rengoku's strongest form, his ninth flame, wouldn't even singe the Dragon Slayer before being consumed. Then there's Endeavor, who sits at the peak of local level power. Against Todoroki or Nezuko, he dominates. Against Rengoku, his raw fire output melts through every breathing form, but once he faces global threats like Ace or Benimaru, Endeavor's flames start to look like a candle in a hurricane. And Avdol, his Magician's Red is deadly against normal humans, but pit him against any modern fire user, and he's instantly outclassed. His controlled flame birds can win duels, but he has no answer for the scale of Natsu's Dragonfire or Ace's volcanic punches. These sparks mark the first step. Powerful, iconic, and dangerous, but ultimately the opening flames before the true infernos arrive. Climbing higher, we reach the infernos, the fighters whose flames don't just exist, they dominate. Portgas d'Ace, Fire Fist himself, would erase the likes of Rengoku or Todoroki in seconds. Their swords and ice fire combos might hold for a moment, but one Heiken would engulf the entire battlefield, leaving nothing but ash. Even someone like Endeavor, who built his career on fire mastery, would be swallowed whole. Ace's flames simply burn hotter, wider, and with no limit but his own will. Sabo takes it further. Imagine Ace's fire, but wielded with pinpoint precision, reinforced by haki and decades of hand-to-hand mastery. Against Ace, he doesn't just trade blows, he breaks through. His Dragon Claw infused with flame would shatter Ace's guard and snuff his fire mid-strike. That's why Sabo stands taller. Same fruit, greater control, stronger foundation. Then comes Natsu Dragneel in Dragon King mode. Against Ace or Sabo, Natsu wouldn't just meet fire with fire, he'd eat it. Every punch they land only fuels him further until his counterattack erupts with the power of a dragon. Their flames would be consumed, their strength turned against them, leaving Natsu standing as the inferno that devours all others. And Shinra Kusakabe, his Adola burst bends more than fire. Against fighters like Rengoku or Nezuko, he wouldn't even need to burn them. His speed would tear through them before their attacks finished. And when he goes full burst, even an Ace-level firestorm can't hit what it can't catch. The Infernos are where fire stops being a tool and becomes a force of nature that decides battles before they've even begun. At the summit stand the true fire gods, beings whose flames stop behaving like elements and start acting like laws of reality. Ikki the Phoenix is the face of immortality. Against someone like Natsu in Dragon King mode, Ikki doesn't just endure, he returns. Reduce his body to ash and his cosmos reignites the Phoenix flame. He rises again, harder to put down than before. The catch is simple and brutal. The only consistent way to beat Ikki is total erasure. If your fire merely burns, he will come back. If it erases, he stays down. How Asakura bends the scale even further. His spirit of fire doesn't compete in temperature, it devours other flames and turns them into fuel. Ace's Infernos, Sabo's Dragon Claw blasts, even Dragon Fire, How can simply absorb and escalate. And as Shaman King, his will reshapes the battlefield itself. He isn't just a fighter wielding fire, he's a god-defining fire. Against Yamamoto or Escanor, How doesn't need to survive the heat. He consumes the blaze and dictates the terms. Now the duel everyone wonders about. Escanor versus Genryusai Yamamoto. In Near Noon, Escanor is terrifying, but Yamamoto's Bankai outclasses him. Zanka no Tachi condenses solar heat into a blade that doesn't burn so much as erase, operating at a temperature comparable to a star's core, on the order of 15 million degrees. That's not a wildfire, that's annihilation with every swing. Escanor's body, even supercharged, struggles against that absolute. At the 12 o'clock, Escanor becomes power incarnate for 1 minute. Here it's a true clash of titans. Escanor's overwhelming, reality-bending brute force versus Yamamoto's apocalyptic precision and control. The critical unknown is Escanor's actual heat. We have no cannon number. If his blaze only mirrors the sun's surface, Yamamoto clearly holds the advantage. If Escanor's peak secretly presses toward core level heat, then even Yamamoto's supremacy can be contested in a clean head-on collision. The outcome becomes a race. Can Escanor end it within that brief minute, or can Yamamoto survive, stall, and cut him down when noon passes? Then comes the one ultimate, Escanor's suicidal apotheosis. He pours his life itself into a single limitless blaze. In this one fleeting spike, Escanor can meet Yamamoto head-on. It's not sustainable power, it's a last light that burns everything, including the user. Framed this way, in consistent, repeatable terms, Yamamoto wins. In a single, all-in moment, Escanor can force a mutual destruction scenario where even Zanka no Tachi is matched strike for strike as both worlds burn away. Where does Ikki fit between these suns? Against Yamamoto, Ikki's advantage is persistence. If Zanka's cuts erase him utterly, Ikki stays down, Yamamoto wins. If they merely incinerate, the Phoenix rises, and the fight becomes an endurance test that few besides Yamamoto can pass. And above this furnace stands Hao. He doesn't need to out-heat Yamamoto or out-muscle Escanor. He sidesteps the comparison. By absorbing their flames and redefining the rules, Hao claims the conceptual high ground. That's why, in the realm of who defines fire, Hao sits at the throne. So the balance is clear. Yamamoto dominates in consistent, measurable, apocalyptic firepower and control. Escanor can only rival him in a fleeting, suicidal peak. Devastating, but not sustainable. Ikki forces the question of erasure versus resurrection. Burn him, he returns. Erase him, he falls. Hao stands beyond temperature, ruling by absorption and will, not by heat alone. At this level, the fight is no longer about flames. It's about who defines what fire even means. But that's just the breakdown here. Do you agree Yamamoto takes the throne? Or do you think Escanor's ultimate blaze, Ikki's endless rebirth, or Hao's spirit of fire deserves the crown? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let's debate it there.